Back to Amazing Websites Television, the show where intelligent people like you can find the tools to change the rules. Welcome back to the show. Today I am still in Istanbul. Just back here it is Hagia Sophia Mosque, and we have been walking around this beautiful city which is divided between two continents. And on today's show we're going to have a lot of very interesting content. We're going to be having James Reynolds with his great ideas on how to improve your search engine marketing. We're going to be having our guest today, and our guest today is going to be Bob Urichuck. A very interesting interview. And also we're going to be having a very special section on new marketing. So I hope that you enjoy it, and let's get started with the first session of the show, which is going to be handy bookmarks. Welcome back to Handy Bookmarks. Today I have 5 great tools so that you can grow your business. Then I have also 2 great videos that you're going to really find very interesting, and I have 1 bonus tool. So let's get started with the first tool, and this business tool is going to be Business Model Generator. Business Model Generator is a great suite, a very nice software, so that you will be able to create the business model for your business. You see, most businesses, what they do is they get started and they start possibly even generating money, but they do not have a business model. If you do not have a business model, you will never be able to scale your business. You will not be able to run effectively or efficiently your business. Therefore, it's very important that you create a business model, and with this software you will be able to do it. Now, the next tool that I want to share with you, it's called Canvanizer.com, and Canvanizer.com is based on the business model canvas from Alexander Osterwalder, and what this is just a perfect way to figure out who are going to be your ideal customers, what are going to be your distribution channels, how you're going to be reaching your customers. So there's all sorts of great tools in how you can put together a fantastic business model using the Canvas model from Alex Osterwalder. The next tool that I want to share with you is called Flubaroo, and Flubaroo I think is just absolutely fantastic. Let's say that you have a coaching program or a training program or whatever, and you have any exams or tests that you would like to give to your students. This is a great way to create tests or exams for your students. Also, for example, you can use it in many ways in marketing, and it is very useful. So just go to flubaroo.com and you will really benefit from this tool. The next tool that I want to share with you is called Pipedrive. Pipedrive, it is fantastic for consultants more than anything. As you know, if you're a consultant, you might have a number of customers, and they are at different levels on the process of consulting. I mean, you might have somebody that you just have the initial conversation, you might have somebody which is already very ready to close, you have somebody which is already working with you. So they are at different levels, and this tool, Pipedrive.com, will actually give you, with one glance, you will be able to figure out exactly where all your customers are at any specific moment in time. Very useful. The next tool that I want to talk about, it's called Workflowing. This is a great tool for you to be able to organize yourself. You see, I mean, I do not know about you, but I am a total disaster in organization, and I love the tools that can help me get myself organized. And on this one, you will be able to have all your ideas and just put them all into perspective and just make it work the way that you would like it to work. So those are the 5 great business tools that I wanted to share with you. Just before we finish this handy bookmark section of today, I want to show you a video from Eric Whitaker. Eric Whitaker is a composer and an orchestra director, and he created something that he calls the virtual choir. If you have never heard of the virtual choir, you're going to be totally amazed. And it is people all over the world, and also you can join it. I mean, just look for Eric Whitaker choir, and you can join, and you could be anywhere at home or at your office or whatever, and you will get your headsets, and then you will be singing in a choir. Very, very interesting concept. I really recommend you to check it out, and make sure that you know exactly what we're talking about. So just have a look. Very beautiful, don't you think? Well, I hope that you have enjoyed it, and I hope that you find out more about Eric's work, because I think it's just fantastic. Just to end up this section, I have a very, very nice video that I think that you're going to really like. It is from Walmart. And every time that Halloween approaches, I look at this video and I say I have to include it on my show, because it just has such a powerful message. And it is about one boy and one girl that are trick-or-treating, and one of them is very afraid of taking one candy and the other one takes a bunch of candies. And this is just very, very interesting, because if we put it in the marketing perspective, this is quite interesting. If your website is not written in the proper way that your customer, that your prospective customer or avatar understands, your website is going to fail. And I think this is just a very, very nice example on marketing part, and I hope that you're going to enjoy it. Have a look.
Hey, it says just take one. I can't read.
Very funny, don't you think? Well, I hope that you have enjoyed all the resources and the nice videos that we have shared with you today. And now it's time that we go to the next section of the show, which is going to be our feature presentation.
And now, our feature presentation.
You have great content. Maybe it's a blog, some videos, or interesting articles. You have great content because you know that content is key to engaging customers and attracting quality leads. But you're not getting the audience you hoped for. How do you drive high-quality traffic to your content? How do you bring your audience to you? Luckily, there's Outbrain. Outbrain amplifies your content, so links to your content appear as relevant content recommendations on sites like Fox News, Slate, Daily Beast, and USA Today. In fact, Outbrain is the only marketing solution specifically designed to engage readers by drawing them from one piece of content to reading yours. So you get a highly engaged audience with higher page views per session, more time spent on your site, and lower bounce rates than other sources of traffic. With over 4 billion page views across more than 70,000 publisher sites, Outbrain can bring you the audience your content deserves. Here's how it works. You choose the content you want to submit, either as individual links or as an RSS feed. You set your cost per click, which is the amount you're willing to pay each time someone clicks on a link to your content. Having a large volume of interesting content will help ensure that your content is served frequently across the Outbrain network, and raising your CPC will increase your reach even further. Over time, you can reduce your CPC to get more clicks for your daily budget. You decide on your daily budget. Each day, Outbrain will continue to amplify your content until your budget is met. Your daily budget can be as little as $10. You can manage your campaign online to get daily insights about your best performing content and which publishers are driving your audience. Here, you can change your cost per click or daily budget whenever you want. Amplify your content with Outbrain, watch the traffic pour in, and say hello to the highly engaged audience you've been looking for.
Think back to your time in high school. Did you ever feel that you were in a prison? Did you ever feel that you were in a machine that had its own purposes and goals and had no relation to what you actually wanted to do or achieve? If you did, then you shouldn't be surprised, because this reflects the nature of what the modern school is. The modern school was invented by the Prussians after 1806. Before then, education was delivered in many different ways. What we think of as a school was invented in that particular time and place. And it was invented for a very particular purpose, which was to produce loyal, obedient subjects and soldiers, and people who would also be productive and obedient workers. It's this that explains why school is the way it is and has the features that it has. It explains why it is that the school day is divided up into rigid, time-structured blocks. It explains why it is that the organisation of the school is hierarchical and highly structured. It explains why it is that people are taught with people of their own age instead of people who are at the same stage of interest or ability as themselves. And it explains why in many school systems, one of the functions of the system is to direct people into particular life paths, to sort out young people into different kind of career groups. To the extent that education actually does take place in schools, it's a happy accident or a byproduct. Now, there are many people who work in schools who believe that education in fact is the main point of what they're doing, and who are trying very hard to educate the people in their charge. However, the problem is that the whole system they're working in, the way it's set up and the way it is organised, is hostile to that goal and endeavour, so that they're in the unfortunate position of constantly trying to push water uphill, if you will, and any success they have is gained against the odds. What we need to realise is that education and schooling are not the same thing. In fact, because we think that schooling is the same thing as education, we have a radically impoverished idea of what education is and could be. Why, for example, do we assume that education should only take place at one stage of a person's life? Education is something that can take place at any stage in someone's life, and indeed should do. Why assume that we have to educate people of the same age altogether? Surely this is a crazy way of doing it. Why do we have to deliver education in the highly structured and formalised way that schools require us to do it in? Education is something which will be central to most people's lives. What we need to do is to get away from the idea that schools are the only way in which we can deliver education.
Hi, this is James Reynolds and welcome to this AdWords tips video. Now, in my previous video, I revealed the two-step formula for securing ads in the yellow preferred listings box so you sit pretty at the top of the results. However, don't assume just because you're in the top spots, you're actually in the sweet spot. Now, in the majority of markets, the best ROI comes somewhere below the top positions and somewhere above the bottom positions. Typically between 4 and 8 works very well. So why is that? Well, of course, the higher positions do get more clicks. And typically, though not always, they are going to cost you a little bit more money. And of course, the top positions, well, they just sometimes get a few tire kickers. Really people that are just, clicking on the ads for no real reason. They're just browsing around and using up your ad spend. Typically, stronger buyers will dig further down the page because they're really interested in making the right purchase. With that all well and said, the bottom positions, well, often they just don't get a look in. No one goes right to the bottom of the page. They've given up by that point. So typically the best spots are the ones somewhere in the middle. Ultimately, though, this does depend on each individual market. In some markets you can be top and dominate. In some markets you'll be top and you'll just be throwing away your spend. So the best possible thing to do, as I often advise, is test. Now, this type of test and many others are those that we do daily for our clients here at ClickJam to get them a better return on their investment. If you want to make more profits with your Google AdWords campaign, or you just want to get started with Google AdWords, visit us at clickjam.com. This has been James Reynolds for another Google AdWords tips and news. I'll catch you again here next week.
Hello everyone. I am very happy once again to have Bob Urichuck in our special guest section of the show. And Bob, you have seen him already on the show, but I mean this time he's going to be talking about sales because possibly you do not know, but Bob is the number 4th sales most popular and most effective sales guru in the world. And I think he has incredible information to share with us. So before I actually start talking about the core matter of his book and also the different systems that he's teaching and operating now, possibly, Bob, can you tell us how did you manage to get yourself into the 4th position of all the gurus in the world? How does that work?
That's good. Well, I guess it's been 15 years of training corporate 500 corporations around the world. From Singapore, Dubai, etc. I've been using them as hubs, as you know. So I think what happened here is sales has gone through a transition. Traditional and consultative selling no longer works, and there's a white paper you can download on my webpage about that. And the thing is I took a different approach. I teach the opposite of selling. The opposite of selling is buying. People prefer to buy than be sold. So what I did is I created the buyer-focused velocity selling system whereby you learn how to attract, engage, and empower buyers to buy from you.
Cool. That sounds absolutely great, and I fully agree with you. Now the question is, how do you do that? Because I think that's what I think our audience would like to find out more. So if you can just tell us a little bit of how the velocity system works, that would be great.
Okay, well, first of all, we have to understand that sales is the foundation to every organization in the world. Without sales, there's no revenue. Without revenue, organizations would not exist and no one would have a job. Although sales has been traditionally the worst reputation in the world as a profession, it is by far the most important because without sales, we've got nothing. It is the bottom line to every organization. Hence the title of my book, Up Your Bottom Line. You want to up your bottom line? You don't cut staff. You don't cut back. You put more focus on the sales area because the sales is your lifeline. It's your revenue coming in all the time. So what we do is we take a look at sales in different ways. We look at who's really in control of the sales process. Right now, salespeople are constantly being rejected. That's because the buyer is in control. So how can salespeople, business owners, leaders, gain back the control? So what we do is we show them the way buyers buy so they understand how buyers buy. When you know how buyers buy, well, then you're in a better position to learn how to attract them and engage them. So what we do is we cover it in 4 different sections. First thing we have to understand is it's a lot to do with attitude. People, for example, may not want to be in sales because there's that perception about being a salesperson. But if you take a look at something like effective listening, most people would say it's a competency. But you cannot become a competent listener until you have the behavior, you practice listening. But you won't practice listening until you have the attitude, which is the desire to want to listen. So what we find is, how do customers want to be treated? As buyers, how do they want to be treated? And what kind of an attitude can we generate towards them? So we start out with the foundation. We build a solid foundation for people. One, their attitude. Their attitude towards themselves, so they believe in themselves. Their attitude towards their organization, their products and services, the team they represent in the organization, and of course, their attitude towards the buyer and their market, and how to do things differently. Rather than walking in with a briefcase full of material, walk in with a notebook. Show that you're there to listen, to learn. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. You do that by taking notes and asking questions. Then we took a look at behavior, the things you need to do on a daily basis. But first we take a look at personal behavior. It all starts with the focus on you, and then your behavior towards your organization, and then your behavior towards the market. And here's where we get into what we call the 80-20 rule, and 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers, profiling them so you know what to go and target in on. And it's all based on what we call a ROTI formula. ROTI, R-O-T-I, stands for return on time invested. Time is limited, so we have to make the best use of our time. And each day we look at ways, how can I get the best ROTI out of this encounter? So we teach salespeople how to do things differently. We could do a one-on-one, Ernesto, half an hour, sales call. Yep. Or I could do 1 on 100. Where am I going to get the best ROTI?
1 on 100.
Exactly. So we teach them to do these kind of things so that they get a better return on investment. Also, the other thing is to stop chasing customers and to be sought after by customers. In other words, my retirement definition was to be sought after. I got to that. So it's taking the strategies, and rather than having a push, we do a pull and gain people to come towards us. Yeah. So that's a part of the personal marketing plan. But then what we've done is we've given them a sales system to follow. The sales system is quite simple. Number one, if you can't build rapport, if you can't get someone's trust, you're not going anywhere. So the first thing we need to do is put the focus on the buyer. Get them talking, keep them talking. The more they talk, the more we listen, the more we learn, the more we get out of it, and the more they like us. Then we set some ground rules. Oh, by the way, how much time have you set aside for our meeting? What is it you'd like to accomplish? It's okay if I take some notes. Do you mind if I ask some questions? And by the way, if I can't help you, is it okay if I say no? And what we do is get the customer feeling comfortable with no, because we can't solve all the world's problems. Yeah. And then, of course, what we look for in step 3 is buying motivators. What are their pains or pleasures? What are they looking for? Financial ability. What kind of a budget have they set aside for this? And then decision-making. When will they be making the decision, and who besides yourself is involved in the decision-making process? Then we summarize everything we've learned. And it's at this step we know whether we've got a buyer, a qualified buyer in front of us or not. Then we don't give a presentation, we give what we call a prescription. A solution to their problems within their time frame and their budget and their decision-making capabilities so that they can make a decision. And before I give them that prescription is, remember earlier I said to you I'd tell you yes or no whether I could help you? And you could say no right there if they're not qualified. Or you could say, yes, I can. I'm ready to give you a solution to your problems. Are you still okay with giving me a yes or no answer at the end of my presentation? We always are seeking commitment as we move forward. Yeah. We give a prescription, and then the close is very simple, where we engage and empower the buyer to buy based on a simple technique. For example, on a scale of 1 to 10. 1, this is not the product for you. 10, you see yourself using it. Below 6, it's your fault. You take the blame. 7, 8, or 9, what's it going to take to get you to a 10? You deal with it. When they say 10, your closing line is very simple. What would you like me to do next? Yeah. And then the final step is maintaining the relationship, the friendship, so that they become your secondary sales force and start sending more business your way.
Exactly. No, that sounds perfect. Now, is this a book, or is it a training package, or what is exactly the velocity system?
Okay, the buyer-focused velocity selling system, it's the book, Up Your Bottom Line. And then what we're doing as well is, we have audio programs and video, etc. with it, but it's also a training program. The training program, we do anything from one-day public seminars, like in a lot of places, to 3-day in-house, but the key one is to do ongoing training. And we're now looking at trying to do an ongoing training program over the course of 1 year. So every week you get a lesson online, with, webinars like we're doing now, or seminars, teleseminars, so that people could learn as individuals. Because what we're finding is there's more and more people that are independent looking for sales training, and it's not a corporate program. So we're trying to find ways of making it affordable for everybody to learn the system and be more buyer-focused.
Fantastic. Okay, so if people would actually like to enroll in your course or find out more about you as a speaker, to actually bring you to speak into their corporation, because I think, I think it's a great investment having you there in any of the companies. So just not only as an individual but also as a company, where can they find out more about the velocity selling system and about you?
Well, you can go to bobu.com. Everything is there. There's a free white paper people can download, and they can also email me. Just bob@bobu.com, bob@bobu.com.
Excellent. All right, then. Well, once again, thank you very much for being on the show.
Well, this pretty much wraps it up for the day. I am here with Princess Jasmine, my daughter Nina, and my son Vincent, and we will just continue exploring this fantastic city of Istanbul. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.